right, welcome everyone. We're just going to give everyone a few more moments to join. I see some people coming in now. This is great. Okay, we're going to wait a few more minutes, but if you're just joining, welcome to our next Operate session. If you joined us last week, thank you so much. Welcome back. We spent some time with Jamie Lane, benchmarking the best and learning a lot of the different insights as to what is happening in the state of our industry as a whole, some of the trends and what we're looking to expect to see from the summer. So thank you very much for joining. We're going to dive right in and get started. So today we have the wonderful Corinne, who also goes by Core, with us, and Charlotte as well from BnB Butler. So welcome, ladies. Today we're really going to be spending time talking about team morale. What does that look like from an operations standpoint, from managers to cleaners, and really have this session be a time for you to engage with both Charlotte and Core, ask questions. We like hard questions. These ladies are wonderful at them, and just be able to connect everyone here so we can share some of the woes and some of the wins in our industry. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. We do have the chat enabled, so please let us know where you're calling in from. It's early in the morning for some of you. It's end of the afternoon, early evening for others. So let us know where you're coming in from. We also have the Q&A as well, so feel free to pop questions in there. I'll be able to mark them that we'll answer them live. We will have lots of time at the end for discussion, so please don't hold back. And again, show us some love by reacting. Let us know if we're on point with our humor or not. And we will hopefully make this a really fun session for everyone. Thanks for sharing the love. So without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Corinne. And I'll let you ladies introduce yourself fully. I'll jump back in at the end. And thank you so much for being here. Enjoy, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Nikki, and welcome everybody. Thanks for carving some time out of your day to join Charlotte and I. I am super excited for our conversation today. As everybody knows, I love to get into great conversations about operations and how it works for different people. So for those of you who have not met me before, my name is Corinne Harris. I am a solutions engineer at Operto, and I specialize in helping our customers find the right solutions to help automate their operations. And everyone, I would like to introduce you to Charlotte. Charlotte, tell everyone about yourself.
Oh, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. So I founded BnB Butler 9 years ago. So as some of you are probably aware, we're a short-term management company, meaning we manage Airbnbs and holiday homes. And one of the core aspects of that business is our cleaning team and the software that goes behind that. So making sure that all of our checklists are up to date and that everything's running smoothly. So I started the business 9 years ago because I saw a gap in the market. There weren't many providers back then. And I realized that there was an opportunity for a company like ours now to come in and kind of disrupt the market and provide the level of service that I felt clients deserved, but I just didn't think was out there at that time. And that kind of sparked me to start the business. And then it's been a really interesting and kind of topsy-turvy journey since then, I guess. Learned a lot along the way, as I'm sure a lot of the people in the chat here have as well. And yeah, just continuing to learn every day. So hopefully we can learn together and share our insights and make it everything better for each other.
Amazing. Thanks for that, Charlotte. So you mentioned you started the business 9 years ago. I know quite a few people that are joining our call today are just getting started, and it's just at the very beginning for them. Maybe you can kind of share maybe one or two little surprises you had along the way that maybe you weren't expecting 9 years ago. Anything there that you can kind of share along the way that kind of took you by surprise, whether that's good or maybe not the best surprise, but you worked through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for those who are starting out, congratulations. That's really exciting. I'm sure it's nerve-wracking as well because I remember those days. A lot of really hard work, but also a lot of really exciting times. Wow. Well, when we started the company, I ran the business out of my home. So I started the business from my home and I took care of everything myself. So that was from cleaning. Um, I purchased all the linen myself. I washed and laundered and ironed all of the linen myself from the beginning. So there were many, many late nights up until early morning, kind of doing all those things myself. And that was a really, really steep learning curve and a very expensive one because we purchased all that linen at the start, and I quickly learned that laundering the linen ourselves just wasn't going to be feasible for a scalable operation. So it might be a great way to start if you have, just 2 or 3 houses, but once you reach a certain number of houses, it's just not feasible to put the effort into growing your business, as well as kind of doing that work yourself. So I had actually bought about $50,000 of linen. Um, yeah, when we first started, and we had up to 10 homes, I think, when I moved to, um, yeah, outsourcing it basically. So to going to a linen provider and moving to a factory or an office where they kind of delivered the linen and we stored it, and then it went out with our cleaners. So it was a really expensive mistake. Really great for the local charity shops because we donated all of our beautiful linen, some of it brand new, to charity. Um, but yeah, that was a really big mistake that I learned. So I wish I had known that at the start. It's good to start maybe doing that if you're really small and you're starting out, because some of the linen providers may not take you on at the start when you don't have a certain number of houses. So you need to have a solution. But just be careful about over investing in that at the beginning, because that can become really expensive if you put too much into it. And I would sort of be encouraging you to talk to linen providers when you hit sort of 4 or 5 homes and see whether or not they'll take you on. Or potentially there are other small businesses that are starting out as well that you could even partner with and say, hey, do you think that we could pool our linen and get in with a supplier to help both of you? Potentially that's an option too, because then you can both then focus on growing your business and streamline your operations.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. So yeah, for many of you that are out there getting started, definitely something to add to your future selves checklist of, or even add it for right now to start kind of researching that. We definitely hear that from quite a few of our customers and providers. Linen can be a nightmare. So if you can really outsource certain parts of it or get people to help you, I love that idea of try and contact your community. Yeah, find out if you are small or there are a couple other people, maybe get a Facebook group or something started where you can find out if you can pool that all together. So thanks for sharing that story with us. Let's kind of, I mean, that was definitely one of your larger or a bigger challenge that you could think of. Are there any other challenges that kind of come to mind that took you from, that 9 years ago to, and for those of you that maybe perhaps don't know, recently Charlotte and her team at BnB Butlers won the Property Manager of the Year at the Strive Conference. Can you maybe share some of another big challenge you had that took you from those beginning days, one woman show, to PM of the Year for Australia? What other challenges did you have?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many challenges that come up on a regular basis. Linen was definitely one of them, and our cleaning team is another. So, as some of you are probably relatively aware, and some of you may not be aware of yet, cleaning is hugely important to this kind of business. So, it's in the data that's supplied from sort of Airbnb and other providers. One of the key things, one of the biggest contributors to guests actually booking is the cleaning reviews. So if you're not consistently hitting 5 stars for your cleaning across the board, there is a fundamental problem that needs to be addressed. When we started the business, and I talked about how we kind of moved to an office and we outsourced the linen, I also stepped back from doing the cleaning myself then. And at that time, we used subcontractors to kind of handle that. From there, it was becoming really difficult to manage the subcontractors. So we moved to actually outsourcing to a company, which was a huge mistake for us. And it could be different for other people. But when you outsource to a third-party company, you lose control over the ability to maintain quality. So those companies basically just pay subcontractors again, or they may have some people who are permanent staff to do those jobs. So we saw our cleaning reviews drop for a period of time. And when I noticed that was happening when we were outsourcing, and we kind of outsourced with a balance of our own team. So I kept one full-time cleaner within the business, and then we outsourced those additional cleans we couldn't handle. And we saw cleans and noticed that the ones that were being taken care of by the company that we were outsourcing to were just not up to scratch. And that wasn't just once or twice, that was kind of consistently, they weren't quite hitting the level that I wanted. And then I started to go and check on the work to just see whether or not that was actually the quality that they were delivering was subpar. And it definitely was. I was really disappointed in what was being delivered. And through that process, I realized the importance of, having control over your clean team and making sure that, you train them, that they're run through you. So whether or not that's, you employ your own cleaners on payroll in-house, or whether you use subcontractors, but you kind of incentivize them through review bonuses or other things like that. But you definitely need to very closely monitor the cleaning and have quite a lot of oversight and control over that to deliver an exceptional service. I think this is a very core part of being a successful business in this industry, is having a really good team behind you and inspiring them and giving them the tools to do that. So I think, through my experience, that's one of the biggest things that we found. And there might be amazing companies you can outsource to in wherever you are in your area, and you might be really lucky and have a different experience from us, because I'm sure there are somewhere. But I would say across the board, probably I would keep a mix at minimum to make sure that you can kind of oversee that.
Which perfect into what we wanted to really dive into and talk about in here. And as Charlotte had mentioned, one of the biggest parts of this business and of getting those 5-star reviews and keeping your owners happy because you have 5-star reviews is housekeeping. I mean, every time one guest leaves, the next guest is expecting to come in with that pristine looking place, just like it looks in the listings. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about those key people within the business. As we were, as Charlotte was saying, she already went through this. So we're going to take a little bit of a poll right now and find out from everyone that's joining us, what does your cleaning team look like? Who is it that you have out there doing your cleaning? And as Charlotte mentioned, different businesses will find different flows. Many of the customers that I've talked to might be all in one batch of, nope, we have all contractors. Other people, might be, as Charlotte recommended, using a combination of them. We even have some customers that ebb and flow between a combination of these things based on seasonal. During their peak season, they might have to use a combination, but during the quiet season, maybe they can do everything in-house. So everybody take a little bit of a moment. Tell us a little bit about what your cleaning team looks like. Who is it that you're using? Contractors, those third-party people? What is it that you have within your own system? All right, we've got some results back here. So looks like we've got about 20% of people using those contractors. So we've got some people out there that have found those consistent contractors that they can deal with. 40% of people are using third-party contracted cleaning companies. And then we've got another 40% of the people that have their own team. So even split between people using those third-party cleaning companies and using their own. And then right now, we don't have anyone sitting in that combination. But after some wise advice from Charlotte, we might see some people reviewing their systems and going back to take a look at that. Thank you, everybody, for participating in that and kind of giving Charlotte and I an idea of what it is that you guys are looking or what you guys are using currently within your systems. Okay, we talked a little bit about housekeeping. And actually, let's circle back a little bit to best practices in housekeeping, because this is a pretty important part. Let's spend a little more time on this. Charlotte, can you maybe share with us, you kind of mentioned it a little bit at the beginning about setting up some of those best practices, but can you share with us a little bit about, what if you could give everyone in the audience maybe 1 to 3 sort of do these things and it's really going to help set you up for success. What have you learned from your 9 years of some specific best practices that you could share with us?
Yeah, so I think, like I said, no matter what you do, whether you outsource contractors in-house or to a company, it's really important to monitor it. So whatever you do, however you structure it, I don't think there's a best way to do it. What I do think is super important is that you're continually monitoring it. So you're constantly looking at your reviews, you're making sure that across the board, you're receiving, 5 stars, and you're constantly assessing it. I think when you outsource, whether it's to subcontractors or to a third-party cleaning company, you really need to stay on top of them. You need to constantly be providing feedback. And as part of our practice, we're constantly going out to the properties and we're checking our cleaners' work. So we have weekly meetings where we will have visited multiple properties from different members of the team throughout the week. And then we'll provide broad feedback to the team if there were small minor issues. And if there was a major issue with the clean, then we'll provide individual feedback to that team member privately to kind of make sure that they're aware of what's kind of happened and where they didn't meet our standard and how we can improve that moving forward. So I think that's really important. I think you need to really stay on top of it. No matter how you structure it, it's really important to continually monitor it. It's not something you can kind of set and forget. It's something you need to just continually stay on top of and monitor. So I think that's really important. The other thing is software. So we use Porto, as you guys may be aware, hence why we're here. So we've been using Porto for a number of years now, and a huge part of what makes Porto work well for our business is the checklist and being able to photograph at the property and use those checklists, and for the cleaners to compare a photo from the previous clean or a photo from the listing to a photo of what they're looking at right now. So making sure the property is looking exactly how it needs to look and the same it is on the listing. So as Cor touched on earlier, guests are coming in expecting it to look the same as it does in the photos. And every time the team goes in to the property and is preparing it, you want to make sure that what they're looking at that moment is matching up with what the guest has seen and booked on the listing. Because this is also another really big part of maintaining 5-star reviews. So presentation, the way, even down to the way you present your towels or the way you present, the throw is laid. If it's like that on the photograph listings, it should look like that when the guest walks in. And a photo is great for the team to be able to compare directly and potentially even shoot a photo at that clean to make sure that it is matching up, and you're seeing that. You can actually even check that yourself within the software. So that's really, really good. Yeah, so those are, I guess, some of my tips. The one thing I will say, and Cor, you can kind of speak to this a little bit if a Porto are planning to introduce this, but I know some of you may be looking at competitors to a Porto and what they have to offer. We're constantly reassessing our tech suite and who we're with and that kind of thing. And one thing I really would like a Porto to bring in, and I think if you use a Porto, you need to use you need to have a different method for this, is the way that they run maintenance and claims. So you may be aware some of the competitors have a ability to kind of photograph, and then it goes to like a cloud system, and that link can be sent directly to Airbnb, and that the person at Airbnb Claims can open up that link and they can see time-stamped photos of damage or of previous like the previous clean. So for example, if you go into a property and the property looked like that the one clean, so let's say the toilet seat wasn't broken, and then the next clean, the clean team comes in and it's broken, Airbnb will often ask for evidence to prove that it was that guest that broke it. And so having the ability to send that link and also have time-stamped photos is really important. You can upload photos through a Porto, and you can have your own system for this, but this is something that I would love to see a Porto bring in. I think another provider offers it, and that's a really helpful tool. But in a Porto's defense, and one of the main reasons we use them is they're user-friendly. The dashboard and the ability to kind of integrate with everything, and depending on what your PMS is, if they integrate seamlessly with Hostaway, and being able to have that and to make sure that your team are consistently using it because they find it easy, is amazing, because there's no point in having software that the team don't use. So if the software isn't user-friendly, they're not going to actually use that software, and that'll be a problem, a really big problem for your business. But yes, cool. I would love to see you guys bring that in. I don't know if you're looking at it, but that's a big thing for us.
As you know, we're always looking for ways to improve, and we're always looking to hear that from the customer, because to your point, it's a tool, it's a software tool. If it's not usable and if it's not there. So we do actually have a solution of, we're brainstorming a couple of different ideas for this. So we will definitely keep you, Charlotte, and the rest of our customers updated when we have this. Because you're right, it's a common thing. I mean, a lot of bookings are coming in from Airbnb or from other places that you have to file these claims. So we will put another tick mark beside that feature request and keep everybody updated. And yeah, we're always looking to hear back from our customers about, you guys are there, you're in the trenches. What do you need to make things different? So we appreciate you sharing that with us. And yeah, and that was so many great tidbits in that. That was fantastic. One other thing I want to circle back and chat about is, you had mentioned earlier, and then just recently as well, when you were chatting about incentivizing people. So you're staying on top of them and giving them review and feedback. Can you maybe share with the audience, what other ways do you incentivize? I mean, cleaning's a hard job. How do you keep people motivated to keep going back and cleaning up after other people? What sort of incentives have proved successful for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we track, as I touched on earlier, we track all of our cleaners individually, and their reviews individually. And then bonuses are provided to team members who hit over 95% of 5-star reviews for the month. So if each team member is individually tracked, and then if they hit over 95%, they individually get a bonus. And if the team hits that, then they also get a team bonus as well.
Love that. That's really smart. I mean, money talks. Money is a great incentivizer pretty much worldwide. But I love that you have the individual as well as the team. So it isn't just sort of everybody for themselves. Everyone is trying to, work for BnB Butler as a whole. And as you said, I mean, Airbnb can be so picky about those cleanings. So it's so important to keep it up there. So hopefully there's some good ideas for some of you out there that you're looking at ways. I mean, I know for a lot of our North American people here in the audience, we're just coming into busy season. So maybe think about trying to put some sort of an incentive system to help your people get all the way through that busy summer that is coming up. Charlotte, any other things you want to touch on housekeeping before we kind of transition over to the follow-up part of maintenance? Anything else you want to add to everybody that's joined us?
No, I don't have anything specific I'd like to add, but if anyone has a specific question for me, you're welcome to put it in the chat and we can circle back to that at the end. But I do think this is like a really, really core part of your business. And this is a lot of the feedback we receive from owners as to why they're choosing to come to our business, is because of the way we structure our cleaning and because of the quality that we're delivering consistently. So I think, staying on top of it and being very consistent with that quality is really important. And short term, it might feel painful and it doesn't pay money, but long term, it will definitely pay off through either winning awards like we've done, or through having clients contact you, or through client satisfaction and then them on referring you. So we get a lot of referral business as well. And I think, long term, that will definitely pay off. Short term, it might be a little bit painful to kind of integrate that system, but long term, that will definitely stand you in really good stead.
And I love that. I love that you touch on that, of that sometimes when we're in these conversations, we forget to talk about, as a property manager, you have client that is the homeowner. And, you know, these things, even though they are in the trenches of operations, these are the brick and mortar of what's going to build their trust. And, you know, to Charlotte's point, if you do that early on and get these systems in place, your owners will tell other owners, and then your business will naturally grow. So that's a good point of looking at it, is that it's not always just about the dollars and cents right now. Sometimes it is about how that business can grow and your reputation with guests as well as with owners. So really great point about that. And as Charlotte said, if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat. We are going to save some time at the end for Q&A. So happy to circle back and have a chat about that. Well, let's jump forward and talk a little bit about maintenance, because yes, housekeeping is very important, but the part of the business that can get a little bit out of control, and sometimes you don't always expect it, is the maintenance part of it, because you don't necessarily know what's happening when your guests are in there or over time when you have back-to-back bookings. Can you share a little story or some of your best practices of how you've figured out how to get a handle on this part of your business?
Yeah, of course. Maintenance is so important. You're right. It's second to cleaning. And if you stay on top of your maintenance, then you're more likely to get 5-star reviews, but also you'll have less problems. You'll have guests not calling you, you'll be scrambling less, and it will make the operation of your business more streamlined moving forward and will just make your life a lot easier. So I think in terms of maintenance, some of the initiatives we've done so for example, for a number of our houses run on electronic keypads or door lock keypads. And so we don't wait for the batteries to run down or to notify us that they're running low, because sometimes they can notify they're running low and then like just drop, basically, it just stop working. So we actually run on a schedule of changing those. So every 3 months we change the batteries in the locks, and we let our owners know that that's schedule and that they're going to be charged for the batteries. It runs on a 3-month schedule, and that this is done in order to streamline their operation and increase profitability and avoid problems.
Love that.
So that's one of the things.
Totally. Preventative instead of reactive, right? Love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes for everything in the business. So like smoke alarm batteries, for example, and all those other little things that either run on batteries, like heater remotes, air conditioning remotes, etc. So often as the seasons change, we'll sit down as a team and we'll say, okay, from this date, we're going to change over the settings on all of our properties. So often guests will complain about, oh, I don't know how to change the setting on the remote. I'm trying to get it to heat, for example. So after a certain date, we'll automatically change the settings within the property to try and, again, streamline that process and set it to a temperature we think will be comfortable for the guest, so they can just turn it on and they're happy.
Awesome. And one of my favorite words you said in there, which is also one of the reasons that we've had many conversations, is automate. And one of the things I would definitely recommend to all of you out there is, especially these things like seasonal things, you want to put them on an automated schedule, because you get busy. And if you don't already have it on a schedule to do it every 3 months or to do it every 6 months, before you know it, you'll be like, I forgot to open that spreadsheet and check which homes haven't had it happen. Or 3 months turns into 4 months and then those batteries are gone. So the more you can automate, the more you can focus on communicating with your guests and your owners, and just know that that's coming up there. So I definitely think for all of you that are growing or whatever size you're at, anything that you can look at and say, what's repetitive, figure out how you can automate it. Of course, something like Operto can help you with that, but find any tools you can to automate those things. Let's stop and get the audience back involved, and let's do another quick little poll. Let's talk a little bit about maintenance. Tell us about what are your biggest maintenance challenges. So when it comes to maintenance, and as you can see from some of our answers, it's not always just about executing the maintenance, but what are your biggest challenges? Is it about the accounting part of that you're not billing for work that you're doing for owners because you are being reactive or you don't know when it's happening? Or, you know, to Charlotte's point, you didn't pre-warn them that you're going to charge them for the batteries, so you don't end up doing it. Is it keeping track of those reported issues? So do you have things coming in text messages and emails or written on a Post-it note? And are you losing track of what you need to do? Handling that preventative maintenance. So pre-scheduling those things that happen every 3 months. every 6 months? Or are we just being realistic and is it just all of the above and everything sort of builds up? Take a moment and chime in. Tell us about what your maintenance problems look like. Anything on here triggering anything for you, Charlotte, that you were like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before we had a clean software solution, yeah, trying to keep track of the reported issues was definitely up there for us. And I love there's a 50-50 split between keeping track of the issues and everything, because it is hard to stay on top of everything. It really is. It's really difficult, particularly if you don't have a solution in place that kind of helps you do that. So yeah, that's really important.
So yeah,
I think
even 50 split. So 50% of people are saying keeping track of issues, and the other 50% are saying, yeah, that, but also everything else. So yeah, this is definitely a complex issue. And sorry, Charlotte, you're about to say something there. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say like a software tool like a Porto or a cleaning software tool will definitely help, particularly with keeping track of the reported issues. So I'm sure most of you are pretty aware of the way the cleaning software solutions run, but you can upload an issue, or what happens is the cleaners are at a property and they upload the issue to the cleaning software. So for example, for us, it's a Porto. So they're at the property, they upload the issue to a Porto, they photograph it. So that could be, like I touched on earlier, an issue that's relating to claims. So there's damage, or it could be an issue that's just wear and tear that needs to be fixed. And that goes into kind of a maintenance section within a Porto. And then you can track all of your maintenance. So within that, you can put notes, you can schedule jobs, and you can track what date the issue started, what progress has happened on that issue, and then you can close that issue out when it's completed. So you can see everything all in the one dashboard, all in the one place, and then you can put notes in it. So for example, if you've reached out to 3 providers, you might on that day just put a note like, okay, I've contacted 3 providers today, follow up on Wednesday or something like that, for the quotes if you haven't received them, as an example. And it really helps to have it all in one place so you can just see everything at a snapshot, and track it. Because if you're like me, you have a lot of things in your mind and you will forget if you don't have it all in one place, and you can't kind of keep on top of it.
Totally. And so thank you for that, because that really talks about A and B of, keeping track of those issues, but also again, making sure you can go back at the end of the month and say, oh yeah, right, we did that. I should actually add that to the owner's bill. So yeah, so definitely have something central, that one place where you can go and search things and find it. Don't rely on going back through your text messages or those sort of things. Find that software that's going to help you gain that control.
I also find that as soon as we pay for something, it helps to automatically put it into a spreadsheet. So we use a PMS system. So we use Hostaway, but there are a lot of PMS systems around that will help you. But we also, in addition to that, every time a bill is paid, we keep a spreadsheet for every client, and we track, we keep one spreadsheet, but we keep all of the outgoings for that month in that spreadsheet for each client. So whenever we go to bill at the end of the month, everything is tracked there. And then you can just kind of go into that client's tab and see everything that you need to add to their bill.
Love it. And then to Sarah's point, if you needed to cross-reference, if they were like, we need proof, you've got your photos that you can go back into your software to go and show them those photos, that sort of thing. So love it. Make sure you're covering your tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to be out of pocket for expensive maintenance.
Absolutely. Exactly. Excellent. Any other kind of maintenance tips that you wanna talk about or share with everybody while we're on this subject?
Look, I think those things are, for me, are kind of the most important. Like, just much like cleaning, you need to monitor it closely, and anything you can do that's, proactive is really helpful. Particularly coming into the busy period. So for all of those of you guys that are in like North America, or possibly Europe, prior to peak season, we always try to make sure we have done all of our kind of pre-planned scheduled maintenance, because as much as you plan and you try to keep everything on a schedule, it doesn't always run to plan as much as you'd like it to. So generally right before peak season, we'll go back over our maintenance schedule, make sure that we have done everything that we wanted to. And if we haven't, we'll do that. And then we'll cross-check the most common issues that come up. So for example, one of the most common things that come up is the door locks, smoke alarms beeping, and batteries and light bulbs within the property. So we will get the cleaners to check all the lights, check all the batteries in every property, change them over, and then leave additional ones in the property as well. So if we have a long stay guest or an issue does arise, there's backup there rather than having to send someone out to drop that off.
Love that. That is fantastic. So yeah, be preventative, make your plans, especially before that busy season. You know, get in there before you hear it from the guest. Try and figure that out for yourself. That's great. Thank you very much for sharing, Charlotte. For those of you that might have only ever looked at Operto Teams, or maybe this is the first time you've joined us for something with Operto, you know, Charlotte kind of gave you a bit of a rundown, but let me tell you a little bit about how Operto Teams works. So Operto Teams essentially will connect with your PMS, your property management system. We work with over 60 different programs. Or if you haven't even graduated to a property management system yet, maybe you still have your listings on Airbnb or VRBO. It's no problem. We can still connect with those. And the idea is we're going to give you one master calendar, and we're going to help you break away from that manual work of running your different reports to figure out when do you need to do cleans, communicating these things out to your cleaners. We can help you build those custom checklists. So going back to what Charlotte was saying of making sure that you give them pictures of this is exactly how the room's supposed to be staged, where the throw pillows are supposed to go, or where the the designer books are supposed to go on the coffee table. We can help you track those maintenance tasks. So no more of those text messages and sticky notes and even paper checklists that can fall in a puddle or blow away. We can kind of bring all of that together. And then we have a very handy staff app. So instead of your staff having to work in a bunch of different programs, we have a web-based app. It's very user-friendly for them to use. As Charlotte said, if it's not an easy tool, they're not going to use it. So it's a very user-friendly app where they can upload their pictures, they can report those issues back to you. So we're really trying to help you automate and kind of get control over all of those housekeeping, maintenance, inspections. Even if you have pools or hot tubs you need to service, we can help you with that as well. You know, so again, we're just, we've also got some additional things that we can automate for you. We can send out real-time notifications. So if a guest is having such a lovely time and they decide to extend their stay, we can automatically message the cleaner letting them know, hey, your clean has been canceled for tomorrow, and now we need you to go on Friday or go on Saturday and do it. You can customize the rules for your business. Let's be honest, there aren't very many short-term rental businesses out there that do everything exactly the same. Everybody, you know, is kind of doing things slightly different based on their market or based on their guest or owner needs. So we can customize those rules and those checklists to suit your business. We started this conversation talking about Charlotte wishing she would have known more about laundry and linen. We've got some really great reports and some tools that we can help you when you graduate to doing that outsourced linen or having that central linen room. We can help you to give the information to that outsourced supplier or to your cleaners so that they know each unique home what is needed. So yeah, those are just a few of the top level things that Operto Teams can help you with. If you are a Teams customer and some of this is new to you, reach out to us and we're happy to chat with you about it. If you don't use it yet and you're interested, again, reach out to us and we can give you more of that one-on-one demo. But for those of you that don't know, Operto is more than just Operto Teams. We actually have a group of different products that we use. So Charlotte and I both mentioned a property management system. And when we're looking at this screen right here, the property management system is really where the booking starts. I mean, then that can start from lots of other places, but the booking comes into the property management system and you have secured a booking. Operto does not deal with helping you trying to get bookings or make those bookings necessarily, but we try and help you get those 5-star reviews at every other step along the way. So we can help you with the pre-arrival part, whether that's through automated messaging, sending out a digital guidebook. We can help you with the check-in portion of it, of again, sending out the check-in information. We also do smart locks and thermostats, so making sure that the guest knows the code and the code is correct for their stay. The thermostat's at the right temperature, so they're not going to walk into a freezing cold house or too hot of a home. In-stay can help with, again, digital guest guidebooks and those further communications. And same thing with that checkout. And then service goes right into the Operto teams of making sure when one guest leaves, we're doing a proper service so that that next guest is checking in and they're also going to get that 5-star review. We help our customers in sort of 3 different areas. So we've got Operto Guest, which is all about doing collecting the guest registration, our digital guidebooks. You can add upsells in there. So if you work with local tour guides, or you want to offer things like bike rentals or beach toy rentals, things like that, you can offer upsells. And everything that is within our Operto Guest can be custom branded to suit your brand and your business needs. Then we have Operto Tech. As I mentioned, this is kind of smart locks. We can help you with building access, so things like gates and intercoms that they might have to get in to a apartment building or a condo complex. Energy management, which can be thermostats. And we also have noise monitoring. So if you happen to be in a rental area where maybe there's sensitive neighbors, or maybe it's kind of known for a place that might have parties during the summer or that sort of thing, we can help you with noise monitoring to be preventative of getting noise complaints or having your owners not happy that you've got a rambunctious group staying. And then Operto Teams, which is all about the operations. So that's kind of what Operto is all about, how we help our customers on that guest journey of trying to get those 5-star reviews. One last final touch I'll give on for you, Charlotte. If I had to push you to sort of say, if you had to pick, what's your one favorite thing about Operto Teams, what would you have to say that it would be? What's the star for you that you love about it?
I think there's a couple of things. For me, it's the usability. Like, I think it's a bit more user friendly than some of the others on the market. And I love that. I think that is super important because, like I said, if it's not user friendly, they won't use it. And I really, really value that. And I think that's extremely important. And so that's probably my main thing is the ability for anyone to pick it up and start using it and to learn it pretty quickly.
Love that. Love that. I'm just quickly popping into the chat here, and I can see Jennifer just shouted out that she's like, her favorite thing is the schedule and the drag and drop. So love that, Jennifer.
Yeah.
For sharing. Yeah, again, you know, and I think that speaks to what Charlotte just said about the usability of it. You know, we want to make sure that, yes, we're automating it, but that, hey, everyone on this call knows people call in sick or they get stuck in traffic and things have to change. And so it needs to be easy for management to make last minute changes, but also for the staff to be able to do their work. So appreciate that. Okay, as we've got a little bit of time left, let's jump in to the Q&A and see what questions we've had come in here from our team, from our audience, and see what we've got in here.
We're all a big team, aren't we? We're all just trying to deliver a great service. So
yeah, you're exactly right. It is a community, right? I mean, obviously everybody's trying to get the business for themselves, but you know, I think it's so great when we can have things like this, and even people in the same area or online can get online and share their stories. You know, Charlotte and I were talking before we jumped into this to say, sometimes when you get in your business, can feel a little isolating because you can be like, am I the only person experiencing this? And when we do things like this, I think everyone discovers that it's like, no, wait, I'm not the only person. And we can learn from each other's mistakes and triumphs and see how things go from there. So I love that. That's fantastic. Okay, we've got a question here. This one for Charlotte. What is the one thing you would change looking back that would make you, that you could be more consistent about?
more consistent. That's a good question.
Tricky one.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think just being consistent across the board is really important. But I think in the past we could have been more consistent with our approach to the clean team. So, like I touched on earlier, we trialed a few different things before settling with where we're at.
Mhm.
And I think if we had kind of pulled the trigger a little bit earlier, um, to go with the system that we have, which is kind of bringing everything in-house, I think that would have benefited our business because we did move to an third provider that did cost us a couple of clients because of some cleaning issues. Um, and I mean, it's just really small things. Like, for example, we lost a client because the cleaners didn't open the drawers in the kitchen and there were moldy wraps in there. And the next guest checked in and they found moldy wraps in a kitchen drawer, which is, not necessarily a traditional cleaning thing, but it is something the cleaners really need to check. And it's just that kind of attention to detail. And I think I wish we had jumped to what we're doing now a bit earlier, had been more consistent with our approach from the start to have not cost us those clients, because that client actually had two houses and we lost both.
Darn. But the lessons
Yeah.
you've learned, and everyone in the audience learn from Charlotte's lesson of, I mean, that's why the checklists are so great, because there's so much to check when you're in a house. It's not like a hotel room. And so it's so great that even if you're having an off day, to go back to that checklist and be like, wait, did I check those drawers? So yeah, that's a great one. Even the little things matter, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they really do. And I think, just consistency in anything that you do, like anything in your life, if you stick at it and you keep refining it and continually learning, I think that's really important. And I guess this is kind of my motto for the business. It's all about continual improvement. So in everything that we do, we're obviously continuing to try and improve, and that's why we structure the things we do with the cleaners the way we do, because we really value feedback in every aspect of the business, and I really welcome that from clients, and we welcome that from guests and from our team and team morale as well. We send out, a quarterly survey to all of our staff, asking for individual feedback. I ask for feedback about myself personally, and whether, individual questions around me and my performance, and have they felt supported, and also, any issues they have within their role, the team, and what we can do to make that better for them. Because I think this feedback is so important, and yeah, just continuing to improve and taking that on board and making changes is what will get you there in the end.
Love that. Even consistency and self-reflection. Beautiful. I love that. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Back, Nikki?
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you for letting me pop back in. Ladies, it's been great kind of listening to you chat, some of the key takeaways. And I'm with you, Charlotte. I mean, there's also evolving guest expectations, the different types of travelers that are coming in. We've got to be flexible. We've got to be able to iterate and automate and improve kind of constantly. So I love that as a final takeaway. Thank you so much. For everyone here, we are past our session time. We could go on a little bit more, but we really, really appreciate you sticking with us, asking questions. We hope you found the conversation really engaging, insightful, and you learned something today. We will be sharing the recording with everyone, as well as some free downloads and resources. So be sure to check your email. Feel free to forward it along to your friends and colleagues. Keep spreading the love, as we said, and we're all kind of going through this together. And Charlotte, thank you so much for your time. We'll let you get back to a busy day ahead. And we're hoping the nanny showed up and you've got all the stuff kicked in. And again, thank you so much. And for those of you who joined us today, we have another session tomorrow, and it's actually with Corinne. She's going to be doing a deep dive into our newest performance dashboard. So this is a high-level executive overview. It's got all the bells and whistles, super sexy in its UX UI, in my opinion. And it's going to make you look like a rock star and start to champion anything that you need from an executive level all the way through to owner reporting. So we're going to be doing a deep dive tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. register and we can send you the recording as well. So thanks everyone. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful evening, and we'll see you at the next session.